Welcome to episode 188 of the New Music Industry Podcast at musicentrepreneur.hq.com. I'm your host, as always, David Andrew Wiebe, and in this podcast, we explore two major themes. One, what's new in the music industry, how to stay current and continually adapt to rapid changes in technology and best practices to enjoy our creative endeavors to the fullest. Two, how to marry business and music to create expanded results in our careers. These themes are certainly present in this episode, in which I will be sharing the introduction from my latest book, The Music Entrepreneur Code. I've been teasing and sharing about the Music Entrepreneur Code for quite some time, and I'm excited to finally announce Kindle pre-orders on Amazon. The official launch date for the book will be May 15th, 2020, when paperback copies will also become available, but you may as well get a head start. Head on over to Amazon and pre-order the Kindle. As I've discovered in my personal development training, transformation begins the moment you make a commitment, not the moment you begin reading the first chapter. So go to musicentrepreneur.hq.com/buy code. That's BUYCODE to cast your vote, make your commitment, and bet on yourself, your potential, your future. You've got what it takes. Over the years, you've heard me announce several new books on the podcast, but for me, the excitement and novelty never wear off, and I firmly believe this is my best book to date. So in terms of what's new, it goes without saying that my book is a new resource for music entrepreneurs like you. In terms of marrying business and music, this should also be obvious. This book details exactly what you need to know to get in the right habits and daily actions to help you build towards your own version of success and creative freedom. No more, no less. So let's get into the introduction. There are musicians. There are entrepreneurs. Then there are music entrepreneurs. Though it represents a small group of rare individuals, it's a movement, and it's growing, and it will continue to grow. In these times of constant change, rapid technological advancement, and endless distraction, how you approach your career or business in music matters more than ever. You can choose yourself and take control of your career. You can let others tell you what to do. And of course, there are plenty of shades in between. Some opportunities will fit like a glove. Others will kill your soul. But the fundamental difference, as I've so often said, is in how you think. It's the difference between the entrepreneur mindset and the employee mindset. As an entrepreneur, you work for yourself. You're in charge of how much you make, when you work, what you create, and how you share it with the world. In employment, you work for someone else with little to no control over your pay, schedule, creativity, or how your message is spread. There's no right or wrong, and plenty of people are content in traditional employment. There are pros and cons to entrepreneurship, just as there are pros and cons in employment. But as a musician, there are so few opportunities to work for others, and even the ones that exist aren't always great. It doesn't help that competition is beyond fierce. If you want to work for others, you're always at their mercy, what they require of you, and how much they're willing to pay. To add to the tension, they can pull the plug on you, and you aren't owed an explanation. I don't intend to steal anyone's dreams. If you have major label aspirations, then hustle. Make an album, distribute it digitally, get your songs played on radio, and tour through every town or city where your music is getting spun. Sell merch, increase your budget, rinse, repeat. But keep in mind that most labels these days don't start engines. They add momentum to moving cars. Unless you're already established, they won't turn their head your way. To add insult to injury, they will keep most of what you make when they finally decide to work with you. Surely, a label is owed something for their work, but to the tune of 80 to 95%, sometimes more depending on the deal. In an all-or-nothing world, that leaves you with no wiggle room. Signed or independent, no in between. And sometimes being signed is more attractive than being independent, while at other times it's the opposite. What they have in common, though, often, is they are reliant on the established system of venues, festivals, media outlets, radio stations, streaming platforms, online stores, and so on. Fortunately, it's not an all-or-nothing world, and there is a third option. It's called music entrepreneurship. As a music entrepreneur, you will take complete control of your activity, creativity, product, pricing, marketing, branding, strategy, team, and every other aspect of your career and or business. Of course, it could be considered a double-edged sword. Being responsible for everything might seem scary and even overwhelming. You're not going to have answers for everything, but that's also what makes it so rewarding and fulfilling. If you believe you have what it takes, then isn't it worth taking a chance on yourself? Scary as it might seem, most days, I wake up excited about the possibilities. Do you? Now, there's no sense in pretending the established system doesn't exist. It does. It's there. If you can court it, partner with it, take advantage of it, you should. Some seem opposed to utilizing any part of the system, but I think that's baloney. Even as a music entrepreneur, you are never completely outside of the system. You can't build your business by separating yourself from it. It's just that you're not 100% dependent on it. I know rock music is supposed to be about sticking it to the man, but you need to face the fact that as a music entrepreneur, you're going to become the man, and you'll be one among many. An entrepreneur uncovers opportunities. She sees possibilities where others see none. She negotiates her own deals. She strikes up partnerships with people and companies that can help her, even those outside of the industry. She will stop at nothing to see her dreams realized. All you're doing as a music entrepreneur is adding those possibilities to your repertoire. You're building a structure to ensure your future success. You, my friend, are an entrepreneur already, but to this point you may not have even considered that possibility. You can't unsee it once you've seen it. Don't believe me? Consider all the gigs you've booked, all the marketing you've done for your shows and releases, all the music you've digitally distributed. You've been cutting deals already. Sounds entrepreneurial to me. Now, the true definition of an entrepreneur is someone who lives off the assets they've created. By that definition, there are few true entrepreneurs out there. But in life, you are what you create yourself as. So will you create yourself as an entrepreneur? Will you make your own way instead of waiting for someone else to give you a hand up? Will you empower yourself? That's my invitation to you as we begin to explore the Music Entrepreneur Code. Let's crack the code. Again, if you're interested in the Music Entrepreneur Code, head on over to musicentrepreneur.hq.com/buy code. And while you're there, you'll see that all my books are on sale. So if you've been sitting on the fence, consider a new action. Sitting on the fence hurts, and the only person who can help you get off the fence is you. Make a commitment to yourself and your growth. You've got what it takes. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or feedback regarding the podcast, please reach out to me on Twitter. It's really the quickest way. So please send your @mentions to username David A. Wiebe. That's DAVIDAWIEBE. I'm more than happy to read and answer your comments on the show if it makes sense to do so. So again, send your comments over to @DavidAWiebe, and I look forward to connecting with you. I'm David Andrew Wiebe, and I look forward to seeing you on the stages of the world.
Thank you for listening. Music in this episode was brought to you by Brian Young. Wherever you're listening to this right now, please consider leaving a 5-star review and comment to help us get the word out about the podcast.